Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to this first virtual debate for Akwa Ibom State governorship aspirants. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to this first virtual debate for Akwa Ibom State governorship aspirants. So since we have not reached our capacity for Zoom, I'm going to put off the YouTube live so that we don't have that echo. I'm going to stop the live streaming on YouTube, and if we need to go live for Zoom, I'm going to put off the YouTube live so that we don't have that echo. All right, once again, I am Professor Kevin Ita. I reside in San Francisco Bay Area. I'm a professor of pharmaceutics. And this online debate will allow us to hear from the aspirants the economic programs that they have for our state. And so right now we have Honorable Onofiok Liuk, we have Obong Idewodiong Idemeko, Ikpafak Samson Akpan, Architect Ezekiel Nyaitok, Mr. James Inyama, Mr. Kanokon, if you are here, please let me know. Are you here? I'm going to mute everyone. Is Mr. Kanokon here? Okay, so we're going to start off with Honorable Onofiok Liuk. From Honorable Onofiok Liuk, the rest of the aspirants will introduce themselves to the people of Akwa Ibom State. So let us know your name, of course, your age or your year of birth, where you attended your primary school, secondary school, university, the positions that you've held, and all of this will be in 2 minutes. So Honorable Onofioglu, I will ask you to unmute yourself. So you can unmute yourself.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. The time zone. So good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Go ahead. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Honorable Onofioglu, can you hear me? Honorable Onofioglu, can you hear me? Okay, if you while waiting for that, Akitenyaito, can you introduce yourself?
Hello, Ditoeka. Good evening. I don't know if you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. My name is Nyaitok Ezekiel Anie Kanabasi. I am from Ikodekpene local government area, Nsiak town to be specific. I am 58 years in age. I was born on the 1st of November, 1963. I attended government primary school in Ikodekpene. From there, I went to Federal Government College, Warri, where I did my secondary school, and from there to University of Nigeria, where I did my first degree and my master's degrees. From there, I went to my youth service in Ramat Polytechnic in Borno State. I completed my youth service. I entered university at 1980. At 85, 84, I had my first degree. 86, I had my master's. 87, I did my youth service. 88, I came back to stay in Lagos, where I got married at the age of 25. At 30, I had my 3 children. At 37, I became the first Nigerian that got the Shelter Africa facility for any state government in this country. And that was when we were able to build the Shelter Africa estate. At 45, I had 2 of my sons graduate from the university. And at 50, my 3rd child, my daughter, also graduated, while my first son had his master's from University of Manchester. At 54, I became a grandfather. And at 58, my grandson was 4 years of age. I think that that is what I would say for now. I've never accepted any paying office in my entire life. I've worked, everything I've done has been pro bono, has been on committees. I've been on every federal government committee on housing, whether it is of ministerial experts, whether it's a presidential committee, every single committee. I was the chairman, National Social Housing Scheme, pro bono, no money paid throughout, and so many other things. At present, I serve as the Director General of the Nigeria First Project while doing so many other things. I've been consultant to the state government, to the federal government, to another African country on housing, so nationally and internationally. And in 2014, I was the only African as a main speaker at the Global Conference on Affordable Housing in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. And then the next year, I won Housing Man of the Year in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. By 2020, I won the Lifetime Achievement in Housing in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'm fondly referred to as Mr. Social Housing in Nigeria because God used me to establish the concept of social housing in Nigeria. Before me, there wasn't a mention, but by the time I became the chairman of the Federal Government Committee on Housing and Urban Renewal, the committee that brought about the housing policy for Nigeria after 22 years, I was able to make social housing a full chapter, which is chapter 8 of the National Housing Policy. These are the things that the federal government, the state government, the housing sector saw, and they felt I deserved to be given the Lifetime Achievement in Housing in the year 2020. I don't know if my 2 minutes is up because there's so much more I could bring up, but I would like to stick to time. And I wish we would have a timing device that will let us know that we are keeping to time.
Yes, we actually have a timing device here. So
do I still have some time to go? I've exhausted my time.
Your time is up.
Thank you.
So I'll go to Obong Ide Owodiong Idemeko. Can you unmute us?
Thank you very much, Prof. My name is Ide Owodiong Idemeko. I was born on June 11, 1968 in a little city, county called Athens in Ohio, United States of America, when my parents were there studying to get the Golden Fleece. Came back to Nigeria as a baby, started off my primary school education at Mainland Day Nursery and Primary School. I completed my my primary school in Government Demonstration School in Lagos, where I had my first school living certificate. Went on to Bertram High School in 1978, graduated in 1983 with a West African school certificate, and then found myself in the little town at that time of Uyo to become the pioneer student of the University of Cross River State, as it was known then, now University of Uyo. I studied political science and public administration, graduated in 1987, best graduating student with distinction in thesis. Went on to have my NYSC in Gongola State, now Adamawa Taraba. I was assigned to the Directorate of Food, Roads, and Rural Infrastructure. At the end of my NYC, I was an NYC State Merit Award winner for meritorious service to the people and government of Gongola State. One thing I didn't mention was that while I was in the university, I had become the first elected Secretary General of the Student Union government, so I was active in student unionism. After my NYC, I came back to the University of Cross River State, as it was known then, and I was offered a job that was waiting for me as a member of the faculty, Department of Political Science and Public Administration, where I was a graduate assistant for about 15 to 18 months. And then I left for University of Ibadan to study comparative politics. I also graduated top of the class with distinction in thesis, and then was advanced to as a doctoral student in the Department of Political Science to study comparative politics. After 1 year in my coursework, I got a job with ExxonMobil. It was something that stopped my desire to become a professor, like academic, like my parents were.
I think your time is up, but I'll give you some very few seconds.
Thank you.
Let's wrap it up.
And then, so I joined ExxonMobil in 1991 and had a stint that lasted 30 years and 5 months. I retired March 1, 2022. And I'm from a little village called Ikorokop, Okomdwaidong in Ibesipotstan local government area of Akwa Ibom State. So I think I'll keep to that time rule and stop there.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. James Inyama. Can you hear me? Let me just make sure that you're able to unmute yourself. James Inyama, can you unmute yourself? So I'm sending you a message to unmute yourself. Are you able to unmute yourself? Okay. The next, let me try, the next person would be Honorable Onofiok Luke. He just came back. I hope he can. Onofiok Luke, are you able to tell us? Okay, let's move to Ipafak Samson Akpan. Ipafak Samson Akpan, are you able to unmute yourself?
Yeah, I can unmute myself. I've done that already.
Okay, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Prof. And I want to thank everybody in the house. My name is Ipapa Samson Sydney Akban. I was born in the 1st of October, 1966. And I have my parents with me from Ikorokaiko, Kwiboku, Itu local government area of Akwa Ibom State. They are both late now. And I have my primary education in a Fort Jubilee School in Akwa Ibom, and my secondary education in community secondary school in Akwa Fort Same Uyo in Akwa Ibom State. And after that, in 1984, I graduated in secondary school. I went into sports full time. I was playing football for so many clubs in Nigeria, in Akwa Ibom State. I played with Jetimo. I played with NNMC, Okwiboku. I played with Everbright. I played with Mobile, Picasius. And then I moved over to Lagos State. I played with so many teams, including Julius Berger of Lagos. And then I got admission into Obafemi Awolowo University, where I studied business management in satellite campus in Lagos. I then moved into professional, where I had my coaching course. And after that, I moved to Malaysia. I studied business management, information technology in Kuala Lumpur. And then I moved to United States. Because of time, I just wanna run it up. In United States, I was in Oklahoma City Community College, where I have my associate degree in psychology. Then I went to the University of Central Oklahoma, where I have my bachelor's in psychology. I'm married with a beautiful wife and with 5 children, 3 boys and 2 girls. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see Mr. Kanokun, and I see Honorable Onofiok Luke. I am sending messages to you to unmute yourself so you can introduce yourself. Mr. Kanokun, check. Go ahead.
Hello, Prof.
Yes, Honorable
Prof.
Onofiok Luke, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, Prof. Sorry, I had a network glitch. Apologies to the moderator and the audience. Like I said, my name is Onofiok Luke. I'm from Ikoretopo village in Serubium local government area. I was born on 16 March 1978. I actually started my primary education in my hometown. That is St. Stephen's Primary School, Ikoretopo. And because of the nature of my mother's job as a teacher, being posted from one post to the other, I later went to attend a government school, Ikorebo, Salvation Army School, Ikorebo in Itinan. And then again, went to St. Teresa's Primary School, Sebat, where I actually got my first school leaving certificate. And I proceeded to the prestigious Lutheran High School, Obodidum, where in 1989, and then where I got my senior school certificate. And I got admitted.
I think he has audio
into the Faculty of Law, University of Uyo, and I'm a lawyer. And I was, I went youth service in 2008 to 2009, specifically Ivo local government area of Ebonyi State. And I went to, I did my law school at Nigerian Law School, Buhari, where I was called to bar in 2010. And after then, I came to practice briefly in Fortress and Shepherd Chambers, that is of FNA Query and Co. And then I have served this country as the pioneer speaker of Nigerian Youth Parliament. That was a non-stipendiary position from 2008 to 2010. And I served as a legislative aide to the late NSA Nobon Kocho II, a member who represented Ibn Isreke State Constituency in the House of Assembly in 2003. And by the grace of God, I was appointed by the former governor, His Excellency, Governor Gosudo Bodokpabio, to serve him as personal assistant on protocol matters. 2011, I was elected into the House of Assembly to represent the people of Nserubium State Constituency. And I was reared there. I served as the chairman, Finance and Appropriation, a committee responsible for the vetting of the budget of the state. And after which we passed the report to the House at plenary. And I served as the chairman, House Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources too. I was re-elected in 2015, and I served as the chairman, House Committee on Education. And then later, by the grace of God, I was elected as first amongst equal. I was elected the 11th speaker of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, and where I contributed in making legislations to create an enabling environment for the development of the state. And in 2019, I was elected by the people of Etenan, Nserubium Federal Constituency into the House of Representatives, where I am currently speaking for Nigerians and representing the people of Etenan Federal Constituency. And by the grace of God in that house, I serve as the chairman, House Committee on Judiciary. I hold a master's degree in law from the University of Calabar, and I've attended personal development courses ranging from leadership courses, one in Harvard Business School in 2012. I have done a personal development course in Yale University in 2014. I've done a personal development course in London Business School in 2019, and I've done a personal development course in 2014 too in Alliance Manchester Business School. And so that is the brief of my resume as at now. I am married to an academic, Dr. Odoanofio Luke, a lecturer in the biochemistry department of the University of Uyo. I have 4 lovely kids, 2 boys and 2 girls. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just want to make sure that Mr. Kanokun can speak to us. Mr. Kanokun, are you able?
I'm here, I can speak to you.
Okay, and can you turn on your camera if that's possible? Okay, we can see you now. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Akan Okon. I'm from Itam area. I was born in October. I attended primary school and then proceeded to Itam Secondary School for my secondary education. I also attended the school for my A-levels. I proceeded to the University of Lagos, where I was admitted into the Department of Business Administration, and I graduated in 1987 with second-class upper division. And from there, I did my youth service with the Central Bank of Nigeria. And after my service, I proceeded to the University of Calabar for an MBA program on banking and finance. And after my MBA, I was engaged by the Central Bank of Nigeria on full-time basis. From Central Bank of Nigeria, I've worked in several departments, and I've also worked in many banks in Nigeria, including the present-day UBA, and specializing in investment banking. In 2019, I resigned from the banking sector to form a financial advisory firm. I in 2010, I resigned from the banking industry to set up a financial advisory firm called Fantasies Investment. From there, I was invited by the Akwa Ibom State Government under His Excellency Godswill Akpabio to serve. And my first assignment was in the Ministry of Economic Development. And from that office, I was sent to the Ministry of Finance. I've worked in Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Special Duties, and Aviation Development. And then Ibom Deep Sea Port. It's on record that I am the only person here that have served 2 governors as Economic Development Commissioner. I'm also the only person that have served 2 governors as Finance Commissioner. I was responsible for midwifing of Ibom A, and I'm also, I was the one that was in charge of the Ministry of Economic Development to obtain the approval for the construction of Ibom Deep Sea Port from the federal government. I'm also, the smart building that we have here, I'm also the one that was responsible for the construction. I am married to Mrs. Queen Okon, and I have 4 lovely daughters.
Thank you very much. Let's see. Mr. James Iniama, are we able to get you? Let's see if we can get you to unmute yourself so you can introduce. Can we listen to James Iniama? Let me see if I can unmute him here. Mr. James Iniama, I'm asking you to unmute yourself. Are you able to unmute yourself? James Iniama. Okay. Maybe he's still having audio issues. Do we have Senator Itainang here? Senator Itainang? We got a message from Senator Obong Basi Albert Akpan that he has a scheduling conflict, so he's not able to be with us today. But we do hope that we can get to see him sometime in the future if that works out well. So without wasting much time, Mr. James Iniama, anytime you're able to unmute yourself, let us know so we can ask you to introduce yourself. I know you are online, but you are not able to unmute yourself. See again. Again, you can just press *6 if you are using a mobile device. Otherwise, I can actually give you a call. We'll still hear your voice because I would like you to introduce yourself before we move to the questions that we have for today. Let me see if I can give you a call. And then I can put you on speaker. Just give me a few minutes. Let's see. I'm dialing him right now. Okay. Looks like he has some technical issues. So we'll move to the first question. And the first question will go to Ide Owodion Idemeko. So I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. Can you unmute yourself? Okay. So the first question is, what in your past has prepared you for the position of governor of Akwa Ibom State? We're not hearing you. No, it's still connecting. I think there are, okay, I think we should be able to still connecting. All right, while you're working on your connectivity issues, I'll move to Architect Nyaito. And once you're able to get your audio functioning again, just let me know, Mr. Obong Idewodi on Idemeko. Architect Nyaito, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I have done that. I hope we can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. Please, I would like it if your timer actually works.
Yes,
so that
it does. It does work. Actually, I don't want to cut you off. That's why I don't want to distract you, but it works.
No, I think it's better.
I'm going to get it started. Yeah, it started.
Yes, okay, thank you. I have lived a life that I had thought was a difficult life, but I've come to realize that it was one of my biggest blessings in disguise. You are all from Akwa Ibom State. You know that you've never heard that name, Yaito. My father was a primary school teacher, and my mother used to sew in the market in the village. Things were so difficult that my mother had to send me to her mother in Biokui Korodong. That is where I was brought up by my grandmother. That's where I actually started my primary education before I came to Ikot when things improved. And from there, in a way that cannot be explained, I found myself in Federal Government College, Warri. For a boy who came from the village and had never seen a white man going into a secondary school that was rated the best in West Africa and the 9th best within UNESCO, not UNESCO. I will remember that, EU, no, not EU. Anyway, I had a hard time trying to cope and being able to cope. We were 6 from Cross River that time. 3 went back, and the 9th in the Commonwealth. That's what I wanted to say. Now, that made me an indigent student. When I went to secondary university, things were really difficult, tight for me. And the the bursary of the Akwa Ibom State government helped me. The hard time I went through, the company that I registered in my university is the company I'm still working with today. And that has made me to identify with people that find life difficult. And I think that any governor that does not have that particular experience cannot relate, cannot serve, cannot understand the essence of government and governance, as clearly stated in the Constitution, chapter 2, section 2B. It says that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. And who are the people? Generality of the people. Unless you have experienced certain things in life, you cannot relate and serve the people. I think that's one experience that prepared me to be the governor of Akwa Ibom State.
Thank you very much. I like when you keep to time. Obong Idemeko, are you able to get your audio back and working? Mr. Kanokun just called me, so I think he might be having audio issues, but I'm going to call him back to see if I can get him on the telephone. Let me call Mr. Kanokun. Okay, so this is why we're okay.
Hello?
Yes. So yes, I can hear you now. Yes.
Keep the time as we progress. Let's keep the time so that we can finish on time.
Yes, we're actually asking you a question. So it's 2 minutes. We are keeping a timer here, 2 minutes. Mr. Anyekanitem, please. Can you help keep the time, or otherwise Mr. Imo Itimo, can you keep your timer? Can you get an online timer to keep the time while I monitor the aspirants. So let me see if I can get one person working now. Mr. Idewodion Idemeko, are you able to get your audio fixed?
He left a message that you should unmute him.
Okay, I'm going to do that. Okay, I have asked him to unmute.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Okay, so to your question, Prof, you know, I want to say the things that have prepared me for this role. Well, let me start with the fact that I suffered a life-changing event at a very early age and adversity when I lost my late father at the age of 7. And whatever I've become today has taught me the need to ensure that our women folks enjoy the right gender parity that they should enjoy. Because if I didn't have a mother that was educated and was able to train all of us to where we are, I wouldn't be what I am today. So my perception and relationship understanding of women is probably different from many of the people that we have around today as men. So that was a life-changing event for me. Secondly, when I was in the university, I had the opportunity of being involved in student unionism. So I have a clear understanding of the need to channel the energies of young people into something productive. I had the opportunity during my NYC of being committed to service, and that's what earned me an NYC State Merit Award. So I understand what it means to serve the community, to bring about you know, a giving back to the society, the things that you have, the knowledge that you have. In my time as alumni president, I was the first alumni president of the University of Uyo. I found out what it takes to build organizations, to develop organizations, working with people in teams. And that earned me, you know, the opportunity of serving on the University of Uyo Governing Council for about 4 years, which gave me insights into how educational systems are run. I've also found myself as the one-time chairman of the Pegasus School, a school funded by ExxonMobil, NMPC joint venture in Eket, one of the best schools in Akwa Ibom. I was the chairman of the board of governors and later the first chairman of the board of trustees, giving me clear insight into how to run an educational institution from kindergarten to secondary school. I was also privileged to be the team administrator and later vice chairman and chairman of the Mobile Pegasus Football Club. I think Big Bafak must have been one of my players at that time. And I was able to bring that team to become the first Akwa Ibom team to play the professional league. That clearly puts me, you know, in the purview of understanding what it takes to administer sports. I've been a human resource person, a practitioner for over 30 years of my lifetime. I was also a member of the governing council of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria for about 3 years.
Your time is up, round up.
So all these experiences, you know, have really prepared me to be able to take up the mantle of leadership of our state and run it in a manner that would be beneficial to the people of Akwa Ibom State.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kanokon, are you able to unmute yourself?
Yes, Prof, I have unmuted myself.
Okay, and your time is running.
Okay, I like to say that I've been prepared for the position of the governor of Akwa Ibom State, both from my experiences in the private sector and in public service. It's on record that I joined Akwa Ibom State government in 2020, and I have served 2 governors as an economic development commissioner. I've also served 2 governors as a finance commissioner. So I will bring to the office of the governor experiences that I've gained over a period of time. And like I always say, after 34 years of existence, Akwa Ibom State cannot afford to be an experimental field to learn the task of public service leadership. We need someone who is grounded in the art of governance, having been around to studiously understudy the various sectors of the state economy. We need a man who will hit the ground running from day one, after articulating a visionary policy agenda to address the challenges of the state. I am that man because I have been around. I have served as a commissioner for finance, commissioner for economic development, the only commissioner for aviation we have in Nigeria and in Africa. I was responsible for the midwifing of Ibom. I have served as commissioner for Ibom District Port, commissioner for housing, special duties, urban renewal. And I want to say that this has prepared me. It has given me an understanding of what governance is all about. And I believe that this training is very vital for anybody who want to become the governor of Akwa Ibom State. And I am that one because I've gone through it.
Thank you very much. Let me.
Prof, just an observation. I think we need to check out the timer. You know,
Yes, the timer is
every time.
the timer.
Okay.
Yeah, the timer is working.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just having people having audio issues, so I'm trying to make sure I am as inclusive as possible.
Thank you.
That's why I want to call Honorable Onofiok Luke now to see if I can get him on the telephone since he's having audio issues.
I hope his timer does not start at 53 seconds.
No, I'll reset it. Don't worry about timer. Timer is fantastic.
He's my brother, so I have to protect his interest.
That's okay. Okay, so now this is Senator Itaina. Yeah,
the link and I haven't been able to link.
You can actually answer with the phone. You are online. Everybody's hearing you here. This is Senator Itaina. I can ask you the question using phone, and people will hear you on Zoom. And then,
Okay, that's all right.
Okay. So first of all, please introduce yourself. When were you born? Where were you born? Which school did you attend? What work did you do? And we have a timer here for 2 minutes. Once it's up, I'll let you know. So it's running. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Senator Itaina. I'm the advisor to the President of Niger Delta Affairs from Ibiono in Akwa Ibom State. I'm a lawyer, I'm a politician, and I was born 23rd of August, 1962. Thank you.
What schools did you attend? Primary school, secondary school, university?
I attended the Presidential Training College in Ibiono. I attended the Teacher Training College in Akwa Ibom State also for 5 years for the straight course. After that, in the course of the Teacher Training College, class 4, I did the GCE O levels. Class 5, I did the GCE A levels. So between the year 4 and 5, I had teachers grade 2 certificates, school seminar, GCE O levels, and I had GCE A levels, and then took JAMB and got into university in 1980.
Okay. And what did you do after that? You have 50 seconds.
I got to the University of Calabar, finished from University of Calabar in 1984, got into the law school in 1985. And after that, I became a councillor, became a member of the House of Assembly, became a House of Representatives for 12 years, and later became a senator, and then advisor to the President of National Assembly Matters, and now advisor to the President of Niger Delta Affairs.
Thank you very much. Second question for you is, what in your past has prepared you for the position of governor?
Throughout as it is, has raised me for the position of governor. I have been a councillor, so I know how the local government works. I've been a member of the State House of Assembly, so I know how the state government works. I have been in the House of Assembly at a time the House of Assembly was actually House of Assembly, and they were able to ask questions of the executive. That was when we were able to ask the same question in 1992-93. Then I've been in the House of Representatives for 12 years, and then I have been in a situation where we work with a compliance with an antagonistic president, and then a strong legislature. Then I've known how the federal government works, and what happens, how do you get more things done to your state? And I've known the situation that many states survive, not on the basis of the amount of money that goes to the state from the federation account or what they generate locally, what they are able to generate from the goodwill that they are able to, that the governor is able to have with the federal level, and the goodwill that the legislators from those states are able to generate with the legislature at the national level, and and their colleagues at the federal level, the ministers, so that they get things put in the budget, and they even get special allocation and special projects approved by the president. So I believe that all this has prepared me for the job of the governor. And of course, I have seen how I've been advisor to the president on National Assembly matters, and have seen how governors come to lobby for many things. I have been close advisor to the president on National Assembly and then Niger Delta. I have seen how favors are dispensed and how states come to talk about their special problems and they get special allocation for their states and special dispensation, and how grants are gotten from federal institutions and it doesn't affect the revenue of the state. So I believe that all this has prepared me to be the governor of Akwa Ibom State. I've also had special relationship with how to bring in projects and things to the state. Like I brought the Federal University of the Federal Polytechnic, Akwa Ibom, Ghana, to Akwa Ibom State. I used the position that I was as chairman of Rules and Business Committee, and I related with the National Board for Technical Education. I brought the Federal Ministry of the Federal University of Technology, which is just starting off in Ikorabasi. I brought it to Akwa Ibom. Said it was to be in Akwa Ibom. I mean, in my place in Idiono, but we had to consider it in Ikorabasi because my place is in Uyo Senatorial District, where you also have the Federal University of Uyo, the University of Uyo. But I considered that. So I know how to bring things to the university. Right now, I'm trying to bring the College of Forestry, Federal College of Forestry, to Akwa Ibom. We've gotten a location near Aritu, in Tiaritam in Itu, which will cover all the areas across the Cross River, Atanonoyom, and all that virgin forest. So, and I'm bringing other things. So I know how things are attracted to the states, and I know how the state functions.
Thank you, Senator. Your time is up. So we
Thank
will.
you very much.
Oh yeah, we will go to Onofioc Luke, and when it's time for another question, I'll call Senator Itaina again, while I send him the link to try and join through Zoom. So let me now go to Honorable Onofioc Luke and see if we can get him on phone, since he's having audio issues with Zoom.
Hello, Prof.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. So you can answer.
On mute.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. We are hearing you through the phone.
I can't unmute.
Yes, we are hearing you. Everyone is hearing you through the phone. So you can answer using phone.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Prof.
Yes.
Talking about what has prepared.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, if I get you right, you said what has prepared me for leadership.
Yes.
What has prepared me to become the governor of the state.
Yes.
I want to start by saying that right from my university days, I have been involved in leadership, managing the public lives of people. I was the student union government president of the university. And then after that, I served the youth of this country as the founder of my charity parliament, where I even had to represent the youth in fora like World Youth Conference in Leon in Mexico. And then later, I got into macro politics. I served in the House of Assembly like my CD, which I get before now, goes to show. And so with these positions I have occupied before, I have come face to face locally with the challenges of Akwa Ibom people. Again, I have had the opportunity to serve and contribute to the different administrations in this state, right, starting from 1999. I participated as a student leader and later as a youth leader in the administration of the presidency, Akwa Ibom Victor Tar. And then I participated as a youth leader and then a DA and later member of the House of Assembly in the government of His Excellency Governor Gosudo Party. And so I later, and I'm still participating in the government of Governor Donde Bediman, first as a member of the House of Assembly, then Speaker of the House of Assembly, and today member of the House of Representatives. And so by that, I have had a first-hand knowledge, and I have stood at the pole position to observe the success stories of those administrations without prejudice to those who served from the creation of the state in 1987 to 1999. And so with that, I have seen the success stories of those different administrations. I have equally known the challenges of those administrations. I have acquired the necessary educational training. I've equally acquired the necessary leadership training, like I read out in my CV, all the personal development courses I have had the opportunity to attend, whether in Harvard Business School or London Business School or Alliance Manchester Business School or Yale University. There has been, all those personal development courses have been on leadership and governance. And so I have observed firsthand the challenges of Akwa Ibom people, and by the grace of God.
Okay, thank you. Yes, your time is actually up.
Hello, Prof.
Yes, your time is up.
Okay, Prof.
Okay, thank you very much. When I have another question for you, I'll call you again. Okay, so we'll have to call Ikmafak Samson Akpan because it looks like it's also fallen off from Zoom. So that's what we have to do as Nigerians. If we can't get our internet working well, we just make calls. So I'm going to call Honorable Ikmafak Samson Akpan. Now I'm hoping I can get him on phone. Hello?
Yeah.
You are, yes, everybody can hear you. So we're asking you a question through. Yes, we are.
Can you help on me?
No, we can hear. We can hear you. You are not. Yes, we can hear you. Everybody hears you. So just try and answer the question. You are not on Zoom, so I'm calling you through phone, through telephone, normal telephone, but everybody on Zoom can hear you. So what in your past has prepared you? What in your past has prepared you for the position of governor?
Thank you very much, Professor. We all know, okay, let me start it this way. I've never been in the government before, but I know everything that's going on in the government. I know everything they are doing there. I understand that. Well, sports that we all know is a major linkage to all factors of endeavor. Sport has exposed me so much to the grassroots people, and that makes me to know the problems of the people. I have been with them. I've been one of them before. I played with them, the rich, the poor, and the middle class people of Akwa Ibom State. I've been exposed so much to some factors that I couldn't believe that I could be there. But coming back, I know that my state, Akwa Ibom State, has a very good resources that I know I can manage for the state. You know, based on my experience from the grassroots. And I know the problem of the grassroots, and I also know how to solve their problem as a next governor from 2023.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Since you still have the time on your clock, I'm going to ask you the next question, and then you can use whatever time you have left here with the next 2 minutes. So what is your economic plan for Akwa Ibom State?
My economic plan, I have so many things in store for Akwa Ibom people. Mostly for the youth. I have something very important for the youth. I have something for the women. I have something for the less privileged people. I have something for the elderly people of Akwa Ibom State, which is the elder statement of Akwa Ibom State. And if I want to go to the youth,
I want to let us know that I know how to tackle security in Akwa Ibom State, which is one of the major problems we are having in Akwa Ibom State right now. And I also know how to tackle poverty, which is one of the major things that is killing our people. I see what is going on the street of Akwa Ibom State, and I understand that the majority of people that are committing crime in Akwa Ibom State is because they don't have anything to do. I know what to do to bring employment to my people and the people of Akwa Ibom State I'm talking about. And then I'm the government inclusive. And then I know how to build infrastructure in the state, which I'm ready to bring my expert friends from abroad. They will sit down with me, we check what they are lacking, because I know what they are lacking in the state. And then we bring them. If they do not have enough money to take care of some programs I know I'm traveling in the state, my friend, my foreign enterprise, they will come in and they will use their money to invest in Akwa Ibom State. And that will create an employment for our people, and we will pay them back. And I want to share this. There are so many uncompleted projects that are found in Akwa Ibom State. And then I'm ready to make sure all of them will be taken care of. We are going to fix them, because all those things are Akwa Ibom money, and we're going to fix them, and they will create employment for our children. Count the numbers of them that are coming out from the universities every year. They don't have anything to do. I have made it that very possible to make sure that our children will not be roaming on the street any longer. I have seen it going on there. It is heartbreaking in some of the area. I know the government have tried their best, and I think I know that I'm going to, build on what they have done before, and I continue from where they have stopped.
Okay, your time is up. Your time is up. Thank you. We'll get back to you when it's time for another question. Thank you. Obong Idewodiong Idemeku, what is your economic plan for Akwa Ibom State?
Okay, well, I think it's quite limiting for us to just talk about an economic plan, because the whole we have significant challenges of development. I like to call them development challenges in Akwa Ibom State. And so what I have done is not what I plan to do. In 2017, I birthed an organization called the 1001 Plus Voices Initiative for People Empowerment. And that organization has continued to grow from strength to strength. We have members in Akwa Ibom, in the US, in the UK, across the world. During the COVID era, I did commission a team that was led by me. And we worked for 24 months to put together a blueprint for the state. That blueprint is can be found on our official campaign website, ide.org.ng, and it covers 19 thematic areas of development: travel and tourism, education, agriculture. How do we harness the potential of internal migrants and those in diaspora, infrastructure, communication, etc., etc. And each of those, have detailed steps and detailed development priorities that we shall focus on. But just to give you an insight, for example, let's take the issue of human capacity development. Our focus will be to really focus on women and youths in that area. And we have 4 approaches in dealing with that. The first would be, how do we ensure that women and youth get involved in our governance life, in our governance institutions? How do they get to participate more in public life? How do we empower them socio-economically, which is the second thing we'll do? How do we eliminate violence within that social demographic? And finally, how do we reduce the issue of disaster and risk in that area? We've taken a look at our waste management, for example, And we believe that in our first year, we should be able to create 1,500 jobs from waste management. If you go to transportation, that's also an area that we see massive opportunities for us to be able to create jobs. In the area of security, we are looking at creating a Ministry of Internal Security that would provide the major interface with all the security organizations in the country, and also be able to protect our infrastructure, lives, and property. Now, all of this, if I want to take each of those thematic areas, I'm sure 2 minutes is not enough time for me to discuss.
Your time is actually up.
Yeah, so I would like to encourage all those on this Zoom meeting to please visit my website, www.ide.org.ng. Download my blueprint for the state. It's about 235 pages. Read it, criticize it, come back with comments. Thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you. Architect Nyaito, please, can you share your video? And Mr. Imoitimo, can you share the timer and control the timer? Mr. Imoitimo, can you share the timer and control the 2 minutes? And then Mr. Architect Ezekiel Nyaito, go ahead and.
All right, thank you. Economic planning or policy has to do with those indices that help you to make the decision on your economic tracking as a governor. Now, you cannot do that except you understand certain basics. For instance, what is the allocation that comes to the state? Secondly, what are the things that you need to do that are on 2 levels? The first is the statutory, and the second is the running of the system. And of course, at the top of it has to be your capital expenditures. Now, within that context, I have come to realize that a lot of what we call economic planning do not have a foundation that they rest on account of which, if you want to serve the people, you either work for the people or you serve your ego. I've realized that about the best plan that we've had in Akwa Ibom State to be state policy is the indices, the foundation that were set by architect Obong Victor Atta. And at the risk of being misunderstood, I believe that that's the best way forward for our state. And I adopted it with a little bit of modification. For instance, why did architect Obong Victor Atta give us the Meridian, give us the airport? What was the concept of the airport? Why did we have that Ibaka Deep Sea Port? Why did you have the science park? These are the things that had a vision, a trajectory that we will be able to run on. Only taking a certain section out, which has been what is my own, what do I call my passion and my vision, which is education. So to that extent, everything we have set up has been going back to go to 2007 and work our state back based on the foundations that have been set up. Number 1 is Ibom Deep Sea Port, that's the Ibaka Deep Sea Port. Number 2 is the Science Park, revisiting. Number 3 is I'll remember that. Then above all, education. Those are the areas that we have education in 3 levels. And of course, I'll also give a link that will be able to download these. These are the things I intend to do because our resources are really hardly depleted on account of how much we are owing. That has been my trajectory in defining the economic plan and policy for the state.
Architect, thank you very much. Your time is up. Mr. Akanokon, can you unmute yourself?
Thank you very much, Prof.
And if you can give us your video too, that would be great.
I think the talk is, so you won't hear me well.
Okay, we can do without the video. Go ahead.
My development for Akwa Ibom State will be anchors on the following areas. There's what I'll call the economic development anchors that involve an inclusive economy that will create income and employment opportunities for all. And when we move to the infrastructure development anchor, I'm looking at sustainable infrastructure that improves the living standard and catalyzes the economic growth and development of our dear state. Then we move to the social development and welfare anchor, where an educated, productive, skilled, enterprising, healthy, and secure citizen will be the focus. And the next anchor on development will be a sustainable environment. We're looking at clean, green, healthy, and sustainable environment. And the last development anchor will be governance, administration, and institutional capacity anchor, where we'll be setting out principles which underpin support for good governance. In all these, when we look at the social development and welfare anchor, education will play an important part, because an educated society is a society that is poised for development. The agricultural sector will continue to be the mainstay of this economy, because we will look at all the value chain that can create employment opportunities in agriculture. If we go to the area of tourism, we'll also look at those things that will be done that make our state attractive for tourists. And I am looking at a situation that with what is on ground, Ibom Deep Sea Port, Ibom Industrial City, it will help us create the most needed employment opportunities for our young and very talented youth that we have in the state. I don't want to exceed my time. I think my time is up.
Yes, your time is up. Thank you very much. Ikwafa Samson Akpan, are you able to unmute yourself and answer the question? Can you unmute yourself?
Rob,
Yeah,
Rob, James
yeah,
Inyama
I
has
can.
rejoined.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Please come up again with the question.
The question is, okay, I think we already actually asked you the question, so you wait until the next one.
All right.
Rob, I was advising you, James Inyama has rejoined.
James Inyama, can you hear us? James Inyama, can you hear us? It looks like his audio is not working. Okay, I'm going to call James Inyama with phone and see if we can get him talking, because he has audio issues. He hasn't selected his audio. So let me try to call him through WhatsApp. He seems to be on another call. I'll try that again. Okay, so it looks like he still has connectivity issues. So I will move to the next person, which will be Senator Itainan. Let me call Senator Itainan. Hello?
Hello?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, Senator Itainan, Professor Itai here. I have the next question for you, which is, what is your economic plan for Akwa Ibom State?
I would want to know what the other persons have said, because if it were Zoom and connected, I would have had an opinion of what they have said. And secondly, I want to know who are live now, who are listening to me on the panel, who are on the panel now.
So we have Mr. Kanokon is on the panel. We have architect Ezekiel Nyaito. We have Honorable Onofiog Liuk. We have Ikpafak Samson Akpan. We have Obong Ide Owodiong Idemeko. We have Mr. James Inyama. Those are the people that are on the panel with you. The only person who is missing, the only person missing from the flyer that you have is Senator Obong Basi Alberakpan. That's the only person missing. Yes. So the question is, what is your economic plan for Akwa Ibom State? And 2 minutes.
Economic and what?
You have 2 minutes.
Okay. My development and economic plan for Akwa Ibom State is that we will build Akwa Ibom from Akwa Ibom and from outside Akwa Ibom. Second, we will do more of agriculture, use more of a type of resources, that is the land resources, to activate agriculture. We'll make sure that nobody is too big to have a farm. All my commissioners, appointees, those local government officers, I intend that they should have model farms. And every commissioner and any appointee, he will be an ambassador in his own local government, in his own village, in his own ward. Because our people are not using the land we have. I will introduce a program that I call value per meter. That is, of the land that you have, what is the value? What have you realized from that 1 meter of land? Whether cucumber, whether potatoes, whether everything, what is the value of it? Again, I will introduce a kind of program where we capture the new technology so that our innovative minds of our children are quote unquote arrested and trained and developed for the new oil. Again, I will ensure that we develop the oil producing areas using the 13% derivation so that we can have the advantage of being able to exploit the resources of the ocean. That is, the resources of the ocean being fish, and also be able to have the other potentials of agriculture, oil palm, and other things in the swampy areas which have been abandoned. We will not depend on federal allocations to survive. We will generate money internally, and will run the kind of government that will attract the international organizations, that will attract donor agencies to come in and say, look, this is a transparent government. This is a government that has vision. We will help you. We will not be willing and working to attract loans. We will be willing and working to attract grants so that we will be models in the country. And we will look at the other potentials which the state has. The greatness of the development plan is that we will not talk of other things other than developing the human capacity. That is the human beings. Because if we develop the human beings, we will be able to generate the best out of them, and they will be the resource that will give the economy of the state. We will also work well with the diaspora community and run the state in such a manner that the diaspora community from Akwa Ibom in the US, in the UK, in Canada, in the East and Western, in the Eastern Europe, and other countries in Asia will want to immigrate back home.
Senator, your time is up.
Knowing that there is security at home.
Senator, your time is up. Thank you. Honorable Onofio Leo, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Prof?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, Prof. Please, if I can crave your indulgence to please recap, because I like I said, I had a network glitch. The question, sir.
The question is, what is your economic plan for Akwa Ibom State?
Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. And I want to say that I have a document which I will share with you, which captures my thoughts, my plans, my vision concerning Akwa Ibom. And then it's titled Building Together and Growing Together, my social contract with Akwa Ibom people for 2023. Now, the things I am proposing for the state are the things I have observed in my engagement in governance of the state over the years. And what are my plans? My plans is that we, the politicians, first is how do we, you cannot build a state, we cannot have development if we don't have inclusion. And so the very first thing is we've been asking the people to come and join us to build. And then when we do, we now make it look as if it's only a politician thing. And so my very first plan is to bring every hand on board, whether you are in diaspora, whether you are in America, whether in Europe, we bring you on board. Then I have different pillars of development. At the bottom of that pillar of development is agriculture and food sufficiency. That is key in the sense that that is going to help unlock the potential that we have. God has blessed us with arable land, and God has blessed us with industrious people. All what we need is to harness that. And so our potentials lie in agriculture, the very first part. And how do we do this? We have a problem with land ownership. Fragmentation of land ownership does not allow for commercial agriculture. And so is it possible for us to go to communities and speak to communities and ask communities to give us massive land? And when they do give us those massive land, and then we now begin to engage in
you're breaking off.
Going to see a very massive land. Are you with me, Prof?
Yes.
Am I here?
Yes.
Yes, if you are going to.
Yes, continue. Your time is almost up.
From a place called Rwandara. If you are in Parenin and you're in Parenin local government and you want to go to Korobia, you're going to see a very massive land. So can we talk to the community to give us those land, and then we get investors, and then.
Okay. Your time is up. I will now try to, Senator Tainan, I'll leave you for now. I'll try to get Mr. James Inyama. So let me try to get Mr. James Inyama, who has been struggling with audio issues today. Hopefully I can get him. Honorable Onofio Liu, your time is up. Yeah.
Hello, Prof.
Yes, your time is
it was network glitch, Prof.
Okay, can you finish up? Just finish up.
Okay, Prof. And so part of the problem we discover right now, because I'm in Uyo, is the poor internet network, part of economic activity. So can we work with some private sector to have a solid digital infrastructure instead of us to rely on this microwave transmission that is causing like the glitch I'm having now?
Okay.
Can we have a broadband? So
okay, thank you.
1 minute or 2 minutes will not give me the opportunity to give you an
yes, I'll give you another time.
Economic blueprint in the health sector, in the education sector, in the agri sector, in the ICT, in tourism, in sport and talent development. So I believe that I will have another opportunity to share these plans and thoughts with you. But I will give you the soft copy. I will share on this platform the soft copy of my blueprint, my thinking about the development of the state.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So Mr. James Inyama seems to be calling at odd times. I hope we can get him. Mr. James Inyama, we are trying to get you now. And Mr. James Inyama, we're also trying to unmute you on Zoom. Okay, I'll go.
Prof, I see you're calling me.
Yes, you have several questions to answer. Just stay where you are on this phone and answer them. You have 3 questions to answer. So the first question, okay, Mr. Timer, please, Imo Itimo, you will give him 6 minutes to answer 3 questions. So the first one is, what in your past has prepared you for the position of governor of Akwa Ibom State?
Yeah, Prof, precisely, it's got to do with my life and my birthplace. I was born to illiterate parents. I grew up to know that my father fought the Second World War. He came back to my village and left my village, Ikot Ayanitam. I had been born then and with my siblings. And we migrated to a community in Cross River State called Etome. And from Etome, we moved to Ikom. And I still remember fondly that I'm one of the Nigerian children who celebrated the Nigerian independence on the 1st of October, 1960. Life was very, very rural. And standard of living was substandard. I had primary school education in Ikom. And my secondary school education in Ikom also. And in Ikom just after the Civil War, 1970. The college is called Government Secondary School, Ikom. It was administered by Roman Catholic ministers. And in my third form, in a fifth form college, I was made a labor prefect. I supervised my classmates, the junior students, and the senior students as well. That was leadership molding for me.
Sorry, you have few minutes left. Can you tell us your economic plan for Akwa Ibom State? Your economic plan Your economic plan for Akwa Ibom State.
Oh, yes, Prof, that for me is one of those huge challenges we have. A government must be determined to ensure that Akwa Ibom State is no more a civil service state. A state where everybody looks up to government for commercial patronage. And therefore, we must begin to look at stimulation of private enterprise. And I am looking at growing the informal sector, the small and medium scale entrepreneurs. I am looking at industrialization. I am looking at building up competencies in the private sector. And we already have some legacy projects that have been started by government. Ibom Deep Sea Port, the Ibom Air, the Victor Atta International Airport, the oil and gas free trade zone. And then we have industrialization. But Prof, we are in a season where globally we are talking of science and technology. So we must indeed prioritize the development of our science park, by whatever name we'll call it. And then we have the Akwa Ibom State University, which was conceived and started as a research institution, a science and technology and engineering institution. We must invest in research and development. And in addition to this, we must look at feeding Akwa Ibom people. We have been blessed with very rich agricultural land. we will have to build a land use map of the state. We must not encourage indiscriminate agricultural practice. A land use map properly designated to the highest and best uses for agricultural practice.
Your time is up, Mr. Nyama. Thank you very much. Your time is up.
Thank you very much for allowing me.
Okay, and try to join Zoom. I don't know what's going on with your audio. Try to join Zoom so we can call on you via Zoom. Okay, when I need you again to answer a question, I'll call you if you're not able to make it.
Try that.
Okay, all right. Now, thank you. We'll go to Architect Nyaitok. Can you hear me, Architect?
I'm sure I can.
Okay, so let me see if I can bring up a screen that will help in contextualizing the next question. So let me just give me a moment. If I see if I can pull up a power.
Yes, sir.
Rob, you want me to bring down the
Hello,
timer,
Prof.
then you take over the screen share.
I have already taken over.
Yeah, Prof, do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So
Okay, Prof.
now let me go to our PowerPoint here that will give us a little guidance on what we are talking about. So the first, can you all see my PowerPoint? I'm sure you can because I'm sharing it now. So what I want you to see first is that Akwa Ibom State, in terms of federal account allocation disbursement, is second only to Delta State. Although this is a statistical data for 2020, the trend is not very different from what we have today. So Akwa Ibom State, in terms of revenue, is only second to Delta in terms of disbursement from the federal account allocation. And this is freely available on the internet. And then secondly, and more disturbing, is also available on the internet, the Presidency's Debt Management Office. Akwa Ibom owes 214 billion naira in terms of domestic debt, and then owes $48 million in terms of foreign external debt. So then my question is to you, Architect Ezekiel Nyaitok, if you become the governor, how will you handle the state's indebtedness? Take it away.
I wish I have time, but the statistics and the data you've shown there, number one is not current, and number two is worse than you think. We are owing nothing less than about 250 billion. And then there's a request for an additional 150 billion. So effectively, we are going to be looking at a debt burden of about 400 billion, whoever is coming in the very least. That is why I'm concerned a lot of times about this grammar that we speak here, because we need to get down and settle down and understand what is on ground. I find it disturbing that anybody who sees where we are today and wants to become the governor of this state can display the level of affluence and wealth that I'm looking at, and it's stupendous and it's bothering me. It really worries if we really know where we are as a state and where we're going. That's why I go back to 2007. Instead of creating this phantom utopian island of investment and this and that, how are you going to do that when there's no money? You have to go back to the foundations that have been laid. And if you just take 1, 2, 3 projects, take the deep sea, Ibaka deep sea port, take the science park, take, and see to what extent, on the basis of what has already been done in terms of the research, then the airport was supposed to be an MRO, where you have servicing and bringing in, foreign exchange, and not so much of where you fly airplanes. Anybody can fly in. That was not the vision of Architect Obon Victor Atta. So when you come down here, Number one, we must change the music, whoever is going to come in there, because there's no more money. Number two, we must shut down and shut out. You have to shut down the government house, and then have what you call governor's residence, where he takes care of his family with minimal amount, and anybody wanting to see him goes to a state house. You must shut down the government house in Lagos. Why would I have a liaison office in another state? It's an insult when I have an international airport, I have international hotels. Number three, we must shut down all these the fleets of vehicles that we have called convoy and everything. We must go low profile, because we do not have money, because the debt profile is high, because some of the debts have been rescheduled on a non-concessional basis, and you will not be able to reschedule them again, because you must meet certain basic statutories, because you must have a vision. On account of this, I am really worried if all of us that are wanting to be governor understand where we are today and where we are going to. We must shut down and stop all these rallies and display of affluence, and start to have what they call town hall meetings, where you sit down with the people and be grilled for 3 hours, for 4 hours by the people. I think that when we do this, then we'll realize that we are in trouble as a state as we speak. I don't know if my time is up.
Your time is up.
Yeah, it's up?
Yes.
Oh no, very annoying.
Well, you can round up. I can give you some few.
No, let's go on. Let's let others have. I'm sure we'll come back to it, sir.
Okay, Ide Wodion, Idemeko, Bong, Ide Wodion, Idemeko, take it away. How will
well, I couldn't agree less with Agitanyai. It is important that we streamline the bureaucracy of governance, streamline the I would call the lavishiousness of how we carry on with the office of the governor, and the appurtenances of office of even the other members of government, including putting down convoys, etc., and reducing the cost of governance. So we need to do that. That is clear. And for someone like me that has been in the oil and gas industry for about 30 years, where we we ensure that we run a very cost-effective way of running our operations. I bring that experience to the table clearly on how we can run government, make it more cost-effective. By the time you deploy e-governance into the way you run your government, you would clearly be able to eliminate some of the overburdened nature of our bureaucracy, and provide for a more leaner, more efficient, more cost-effective way of dealing with governance. So it's something that it's in my blueprint. If you check my discussion on how to digitalize the economy of Akwa Ibom State, it's right there. It's also a way of eliminating or reducing corruption. Once you take out the human element from government processes, and provide the digital support infrastructure for that, it will help to reduce corruption, if not eliminate it. So those are clearly things that I think we need to put on the table in running the next administration, and ensuring that we run a cost-effective governance. Secondly, I would also be looking at setting up a diaspora fund where Akwa Ibom people in the diaspora can have the opportunities of investing back in the state, not just providing remittances, but being able to ensure that those remittances are actually channeled towards development priorities that they can also benefit from, and the government can also be able to increase its revenue base beyond receipts from oil and gas. Okay.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kanokon, can you unmute yourself and answer the question?
Thank you very much, Prof. You raised the issue of debt obligation, both domestic and foreign. And I want to say that part of the component of that debt obligation is the pension liabilities to our workers. It is very unfortunate that we are the only state in Nigeria that is not taking part in the contributory pension fund. And as a result of that, it has allowed accumulation of pensions due to our pensioners. And I believe that one thing that our government will do will be to focus on ensuring that a mechanism is put in place to make sure that the issue of outstanding pension liabilities to our retirees is tackled. And once that is done, it will go a long way in bringing down our debt obligation, because that figure, I can tell you, a chunk of it is pension liabilities that are accumulated over several years. And for me, I believe that even if government is to borrow, borrowing should not be for consumption. It should be for capital projects that will ensure that employment is generated of our teeming youth. For example, the Ibom Seaport project and the industrial city. I will not be opposed to borrowing to ensure that such a project is completed, or some of the activities that is going on in our airport that will ensure that we become a hub. This is aimed toward creating employment opportunities. But I believe that in terms of the foreign debt too, we must ensure that when loans are collected, it is used for things that will ensure that there's a generation of employment opportunities to our people.
Thank you. Thank you very much. James Inyama, can you answer the question?
Yes, please. I will attempt that question. It's a very concerning subject matter for Akwa Ibom State government and the people of Akwa Ibom State in the years coming and even at the moment. I have noticed with grave concerns the level of wastefulness. Let me take for an instance the number of special advisors and personal assistants we employ. And you look at all of these young men and women, we are not giving them any skills. We're not giving them any expertise. We just issue them letters of appointment, and then they bloat up our salary bills. And at the close of the day, we have not developed anybody. In addition to that, we must be ready to begin to run government slim but muscular. Government must be muscular, it must be efficient. There is just too much of wastage in government. I belong to the built environment profession. And you see, one of the things that I know that is prevalent is that projects cost us by far much more than they ought to. And why do I not have a department of quantity surveying in my government? Why would I not have a professional project monitoring team inside my office as a governor? You know, we would have to look at ways of cutting costs. Why am I, throwing about, Toyota Land Cruiser Jeep to people for not having a contribution to the economy of my state? Why should I? You see, there are things we need to do to cut costs, trim government and make it less attractive. Government has to be trimmed, made less attractive.
Your time is actually
after
up.
we have left that, we would need to focus on this same debt. How will this debt be paid? So we have a burden with us. Some years ago, I remember
your time is up. Your time is up, please. Your time is up.
I thought I had more than 2 minutes.
No, only 2 minutes. Only 2 minutes. Thank you very much.
Okay,
and now I'll go to Senator Itainang. Unfortunately, he still cannot join us through Zoom. So I will dial in again.
This one is still on.
No, you've not started. Okay, Senator Itainang is on, so you can start his 2 minutes timer. Senator Itainang, how will you handle this? Again, we're talking about infrastructure.
No.
You can reset that time. Reset the time. His call did not go through. When he starts talking, you can start his time.
Okay.
Dear customer, the MP.
Okay. Equifax Samson Akpan, can you unmute yourself and answer the question? Equifax Samson.
Yeah, thank you, Professor. Thank you so much. What I think we should do is for us to cut down on our covenants, because the wastage in the state is too much. We should cut down on some of the cars we are giving to commissioners and the way and other government officials. We should cut down on these expenses and then look into how we can invest. And whenever we are making a budget, I think we should implement on this budget, and we make sure that what we budgeted for in the state is actually done. So this can create employment and take our youth off the streets. And you see, with this, the question is, are we still going to continue borrowing? I will say no. In my government, I will not do that. I want to see how I can marry everything together. I have designed what I call PPP, public-private partnership, where I'm going to reintegrate our airport into a commercial airport. There, I will install a cold room in the airport where we can store our foodstuffs and also transport them to other states. You see, there's so much that I've seen in the states, so much wastage of government money in the lives of some of the government workers. And then I think the major thing that I'm seeing is to implement on our budget very well and make sure whatever we are budgeted for, we use that money very well on it.
Your time is up. Thank you. Let me go again.
You're welcome.
Let me go to Senator Itaina.
Oh, I put it here.
Okay, we can't get Senator Itaina. Let's go to Onofiok Liuk. Let's go to Honorable Onofiok Liuk. Honorable Onofiok Liuk. Yes. The next question is, if you become the governor of the state, how will you handle the state indebtedness?
Okay, and the very first instance is that we need statistics. You know, the challenges we can have in the state over the years is that we keep planning without statistics.
I actually showed the statistics online. Unfortunately, you didn't see the screen, but I actually showed that Akwa Ibom is owing over 200 billion naira and over $48 million.
Yes, sir. What I'm trying to say is that is as of now. When I talk about statistics, I was laying a foundation to where I was going to. And so I might not be able to speak about the accurate details because as of now, I don't have access to that information, the accurate details. So whatsoever it is, number one, I am an advocate of the fact that what we have done, if we borrow to build infrastructure, if we borrow to grow the economy, if we borrow for production, there is nothing absolutely wrong with that. The only challenge we could have is borrowing to be able to consume. I know that some of I want to believe if I'm right. some of the component unit of that foreign debt, I mean the debt in the foreign component, is what was borrowed by the then what was given by the then World Bank to an agency called Akwa Ibom Rural Water and Sanitation Agency, which was saddled with the responsibility of providing water to communities. And so in that case, I don't think that there's something wrong there. Now, in trying to manage to reduce, one of the things is, another thing is that the domestic debt, some of them are liabilities to contractors on the construction of roads, on the construction of infrastructure. And so on this, there is need for us to seek to complete sense. The situation where we might say, okay, we are borrowing for recurrent expenditure, that is not a welcome development. And it has been a national challenge. And so by the grace of God as the governor, I will not be encouraging borrowing to fund the recurrent expenditure. I would only, because if we don't have enough resources, my plan is that we hope to generate so much revenue, IGR, internally generated revenue. And my plan is to use agriculture and tourism. For instance, we have one of the longest shorelines. How many times have we exposed this shoreline to the outside world for investors to come in and invest? Now, can we combine agri and tourism? There is somebody we knew in Okrungwero known as Lake Sidiba who had what they call little shrimp farm, where you can go to that farm, and in that same farm, you can sit and then it becomes a tourist site. People visit the place and then they eat from there. That is a source of revenue. Now, for the tourism, can we on World Tourism Day take all the media profits and government attention to even on beach or Unyere Beach, or we go to Atabong Beach in Okobo, or we go to Edomwi, or we go to Taiwan in Ikorobati and do an exposure of what we have there. And we are going to generate revenue. And with this case, the revenue we are going to generate both in agriculture and in tourism will be able to help us bring down the debt profile of the state. Should in case we have great infrastructure to do, like for instance, we have a constitutional amendment that is seeking to delete railway from the exclusive legislative state to the concurrent list, where the state government can legislate and act on it. If we need to do a rail line that will take some people from the airport to take goods, or by the time our seaport is on ground, we need to take goods from the seaport and the airport, maybe maybe G2 and Aba, and there is need for us to partner with a foreign investor through a loan arrangement for a PPP arrangement. We can now get to borrow to invest in such infrastructure, knowing to whether we are going to have a return on investment.
Okay.
On government
your time is actually up.
My time is up.
Yes, but I'll stay. Yes,
I hope we will have much time later to be able to explain what we have.
Yes, I'm still staying with you, but another question for you. So I'm taking the next question. I'm starting off with you, and that question is: all through today, you've been struggling with audio issues, Zoom, internet. So my question is, how will you improve the digital infrastructure of Akwa Ibom State?
Okay. I think when I was giving an apology, I stated this. From today, I put this me to part of my economic plan. The state has to grow on two economy, the knowledge economy and the craft economy. So let me answer this question on the part of the knowledge economy. Our people have a natural propensity for knowledge. And at the pioneering effort of ICT in Nigeria, we had great sons of Akwa Ibom. They done a debate of this world. The engineer manners of this world. I mean, the late engineer manners of this world. They tell us on the engineer and great other people out there in diaspora who are good in ICT. And that is why our young men and young women are doing small things in startup, in tech, in fintech, agrotech. First, their challenge is speed, internet speed, because we are operating on microwave. Is it possible for us to cooperate with Men One on a PPP arrangement, or with Glo, or with Airtel, or any other service provider for us to have a fiber optic, a cable laid up to this point? We know that there's a cable by Glo, I think, up to the Atlantic Ocean. Now, can the state government partner through funding with any of these providers to have cable laid up to here so that we can have high-speed internet? And again, can we take these internet services to the underserved and these are things that government can partner with the cooperative side, with the corporate organization to do it. And what is government partnership? We have issues of right of way. We have challenges of the telecom providers, which hinder investment. Can we cut down on such issues and say, okay, for instance, if you are charged a kilometer about 500 naira in another client, can we give an incentive to those service providers to say, okay, we are going to charge you 2 naira 50 kobo, so that we can give them such incentive for them to come in and give us that. Then again, Obonwata did something. Obonwata started the idea of the science park. Now, for me, if you come to the circles right now in Uyo, you see so much of technology companies, the people selling phones, people repairing phones. I believe that a conglomeration of these people in one place, like a park, would be able to create something big. And so we will do that to be able to continue with that science park and get our people to go there. The other one is funding for this small startup.
Your time is up. Your time is up.
They don't have access to finances to scale up. And so we will create a fund for startups, tech startups, for these young people to have facilities, either as grants or low interest rate loan or single digit loans, so that they can scale up on what they are doing. And then we encourage this ICT training right from primary school. In the university where I was, I did one course called GST 133. Till I finished that course, I did not see a computer. It shouldn't happen to the next generation. And so we must be able to do. That's why in my consultancy project now, I am insisting on building a resource and ICT center with laptops and then with equipment for and with a broadband for our children to start learning from that local level, from that elementary level. That is the much I can say as long as time would permit me. I don't want to flash the time from.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Mr. Kanokon, are you there?
Yes, Prof. What's the question, please?
The question is, I've not been able to see you much because of the poor digital infrastructure. So the question is, how will you improve the digital infrastructure of Akwa Ibom State if you are elected the state governor?
First of all, I want to emphasize that in today's world, technology in our lives is very, very important. It helps us to deal with everyday dynamic things. Technology offers tools to boost development and for exchange of information. Both these things are objective of ITC, to make tasks easier and to solve many problems. As a governor, already a foundation has been laid. There's fiber optics that's been laid all around Akwa Ibom State. It will be my intention to ensure that that project is pursued to its logical conclusion, so that our young men and women who are very talented and very smart will be able to have access to internet at a very fast speed. And when we talk about these young men and women, we cannot just leave them open to go on their own. My plan will be to ensure that I have what is called an economic development office, where we will have the Ibom Entrepreneur Development Center, where seasoned professionals will be recruited to train and groom our young men and women on the talents and the entrepreneurial skill that they have, so that at the end of the day, they will prepare to be bankable, and we will now bring in business agents and venture capitalists to provide the capital that is needed to enable them to grow. Because the key point to this is to help create jobs. The key point of what I'm saying is to ensure that every young man and woman that has an idea, that idea is built into something that will be able to create jobs for Akwa Ibom people. And I believe that technology has a critical part to play. And like I said, I will ensure that the ongoing fiber optics that's being laid around the state, which will lead to a faster internet, is pursued to its logical conclusion.
Thank you very much. Your time is up. So let me try again to go to Senator Itaina.
Dear customer, the MTN.
Unfortunately, let me try and through throw what's up to see if he's available. Senator Itainan.
I think we started this question with him.
No, not the ICT question. Not the digital infrastructure question.
Sorry.
Okay, we can get him. So we'll go to Obongi de Wodiong Idemeko.
All right, thank you, Prof. Yes, well, first and foremost, we need to understand that the federal government has a policy and strategic document on the digital economy. And because of the very sensitive nature of that business with regards to, cybersecurity, et cetera, we cannot, completely distance ourselves from that strategy. So first and foremost, we will need to come up with an Akwa Ibom policy, what I call the Akwa Ibom policy on digital economy, policy and strategy on digital economy, aligned and mirroring the federal government strategy as a lever to accelerate the Akwa Ibom digital economy. And this strategy document is basically based on eight pillars. How do we have the right regulations to push and drive the digital economy? How do we grow our digital literacy and skills within the state? What kind of infrastructure are we going to put in place? All of these have to be taken into consideration. What is the service infrastructure that we'll also be looking at? For example, the e-governance I talked about, what will be that master plan for Akwa Ibom State? What kind of digital service will the government be providing? And then, of course, the soft infrastructure. We need to think about that in terms of cybersecurity awareness and all of that. And of course, digital services development and promotion and digital society and emerging technology. So these are quite an elaborate set of activities that we need to consider to help us grow the digital economy. So for me, I would be seeking for a law, an administrative framework to establish a Ministry of Digital Economy for the state to help us to manage all these 8 pillars of activities that would help us drive a digital economy and interface significantly with the Federal Ministry of Communications and digital economy to ensure that we have a proper birthing of that. Everyone has talked about the issue of the Ibom Science Park. It's high priority for me. As the governor of Akwa Ibom State, I will be going back to ensure that all abandoned projects in the state by past previous governments are evaluated and completed before we start to embark on any new project. I don't see any reason why any new government should come in place and abandon well thought out projects that have been put in place by the previous government. So the Ibom Science Park completion is high on my agenda, and then hope to collaborate with the federal government to achieve a successful execution of the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy. So that's very clear. That's what we're going to do. We need to have someone that's focused on it, and it's an area that I'm very strong on. In my time with ExxonMobil, I've been involved in implementing 2 major projects.
Your time is up. Your time is up.
Oh well, Prof, you're always all these other government officials will talk. You don't around them this way.
Just round up. You
exactly. Okay, so I wanted to round up. So my experience in that, I've been twice to the People's Soft University in Reading in UK, which was one of the university that is focused on delivering the technicalities around the People's Soft tool, a major software used in running entrepreneurships and government institutions. I've also been involved in implementing the SAP project for my employers when I was still working. So I have vast experience in how to deploy digital systems for running successful businesses. I just thought I should mention that. Thank you, Prof.
Okay, thank you. Architect Ezekiel Yaito, please.
Yes, sir. And please, I would like to see my timer so that I know how to talk, because this is an area I can talk for 10 minutes without stopping. The very first thing is
you can see your timer.
Okay, thank you. The very first thing is that we need to understand the office of the governor and the person of the governor. He is a visionary and a dreamer. Then he has professionals that articulate his vision and his dream. If you are not a dreamer, if you are not a visionary, if you don't have something driving you, you cannot be a good governor. As concerning tech, I am one person that believes that our foreign exchange will come from tech. I will make sure by the grace of God that from primary school, you must learn a computer language. You must learn one programming language. You must from primary school. I will make sure that it is a must that you have a computer as a tertiary institution person, because that is our future. I must make sure that the whole state is covered. Let me tell you this. In the whole, I've traveled a lot, and let me reveal this probably for the first time, to the public. I am the COO of To Be Connected Nigeria. We have a working relationship with Silicon Valley to bring these startups and everything and interface with them. Imagine me as a governor creating this. And the second part is that Akwa Ibom youth are about the most gifted in the tech industry in the West African sub-region. And I say this based on fact and data and statistics. The state government will make so much money by being the custodian, creating an ecosystem and encouraging these young people, creating that internet connectivity that is high speed and all over the state. Every person of tertiary institution will be given a computer as a must. That is why we must cut down so many things, all these frivolities, cut them off, and then concentrate on two things that matter to me so much. One is tech, two is rural development. The people must be fed and given a means of livelihood. That's when you have peace. In the presence of peace and the youth being meaningfully engaged, because you serve them in their area of strength, which is ICT, we'll have a new state that runs on a completely different paradigm. This mindset of people who say we have been in government, you do the same thing the same way, you get the same results. What is the result? We have become the poverty capital of the world. So please tell me about relevant experience and not experience in bureaucracy, not experience in inflated contracts, not experience in things that have brought us to where we are today. And we all need to reject it. This is our time for us to think outside the box. This is our time for us to start to look at things from a different paradigm. Don't tell me about you are coming to, one of my brothers talked about, this is one way you come to learn. Excuse me. Don't ever use such a language. Let's talk of people who have been able to tell you how they've been able to squeeze water out of the rock. People who have been able to create things that have not been, who have been able to survive out of government, and they are relevant at the national and international levels. That is what Nigeria needs today. That is what Akwa Ibom needs today. Visionaries, dreamers, people who are passionate, who have a clear direction on what to do. And then when they come into, they will change the direction we'll be going. Because feeding fat in government and thinking it should continue that way, we don't have that money again. We need people who are coming in for service, who are coming in to create something extremely different that has not been. That is when we can start to move in a completely different direction. I hope we had more time, but tech is the way to go.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. James Inyama, are you there? Mr. James Inyama, are you there? Otherwise, I will go back to Akitenyaituk since you are still on.
Please come back to me.
Yes, yes, I'm going back to you now. How will you fight corruption?
Thank you. One of my dreams, sir, is to jail a commissioner within 3 months of my administration. That is one of my dreams as a governor, to jail a commissioner within 3 months of my administration. If I steal. If I don't steal, don't try it. If I come late to work, come late to work. If I don't come late to work, don't try it. The time has come when we must live by example. And what I have is 2 things. Number one is the invisible eye. I will recreate a special squad who are not known to anybody. You will not know that your driver is my agent. Your secretary is my agent. You will not know. All I want is for these people to give me information, to give me data, to give me details on what people are doing wrongly. You don't know. At that point, everybody becomes careful because they don't know who is watching. Once you do not know who is watching, it's like having a camera. You know, in all my offices, in all my sites, I have cameras so that even when I'm sleeping at night, you think I'm watching you. You have to be careful. So when we start, that's the way to fight corruption. When your own hands are not clean, you cannot. Nyaitok is not being said by any EFCC or ICPC. I'm in the retirement stage of my life and I'm sleeping well at night because I have no godfathers. I have nobody I'm watching over. I'm not taking money to EFCC as much as possible to allow me to be. I'm not being blackmailed by people to get jobs. These are the capital flights. That is why we are where we are today. Look at the Akwa Ibom State. Let me tell you this, and I want us to think and just look at what I've just said. Stand at the plaza. Look at Dakar Road. Look at Oron Road. Look at Ikotepene Road. Look at the back road. Look at Mwangiba. Look at everywhere. Please tell me where you can find over 7 to 10 trillion that has been spent over this period of time. Akwa Ibom's money is not in Akwa Ibom. Akwa Ibom's money is not in Akwa Ibom. Akwa Ibom's money is not in Akwa Ibom. I say this with every sense of responsibility. Let somebody challenge me and show me the professional where his office, I can see the high-rise apartment. What makes you stops you from saying all the engineers in Akwa Ibom State, give me the solution 3 months to the drainage problem in Uyo? Give me the problems, the solution. If you engineers cannot give me the solution, then how will you blame me as a governor that there's flooding in Uyo? Akwa Ibom architect, give me a solution to addressing the housing problems of the people. By so doing, you start to engage the local people. You kind of activate the local economy, and people have what to eat. When people have what to eat, and you pay the workers living wages, and you live right, that is the only way that you can tackle corruption. Because he that must come to equity must come with clean hands. I'm not saying I'm a saint, but I can say with every sense of responsibility that nobody is investigating me as we see today in Nigeria. So I will have that boldness, that audacity, that mendacity, whatever it takes for me to say, if I don't steal, don't steal. Akwa Ibom's money must start today to work for Akwa Ibom people. That is my vision, sir.
Thank you very much. Obong Idemeko, I'm going back to you.
Thank you, Prof. I'm someone who believes in processes and very strong institutions as a bedrock of our emerging democracy. One of the things that needs to be done to help us to tackle the issues of corruption is deploying a very strong digital economy, like I've said before. If you're able to eliminate human beings from the process of governance as much as you can, that helps to reduce to a very great extent the potential for corruption. I'll give you an example. Processing the CFO. I don't see any reason why we should still be using the analog manual process for processing the CFO in this age and time. The issue of tax, for example, why should one be going to queue to get their tax clearance certificates? We can deploy a digital system where personal income taxes, you get a card that shows that you're a taxpayer with a chip on it. And when it's time for you to get your tax clearance, all you need to do is to apply, and boom, with one click of the button, you can get your statements on your tax, you can roll out your certificate, etc. All these things are possible. They can be done, So if you're able to do that, you eliminate the possibility as much as possible of corruption in that process. Okay, so that will be a way to go about it. And so secondly, strong institutions. So for me, I strongly believe that the judicial autonomy should be something that we should focus on, ensure that the judiciary is strong enough, and all the agencies of government that are meant to carry out the activities are strengthened with the right executive will to support it to be able to do their jobs. So those are my very clear, well-articulated strategies on how we're going to deal with corruption. And I'm sure that with that, people would learn. And of course, you need to also ensure that your educational system from the basic foundation has some elements of morality. So we're going to tweak the curriculum a bit to ensure that as the generations move from one generation to the other, they begin to understand why it is important for them to run a life free of corruption. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kanukun. Can you hear me? How will you fight corruption? Mr. Kanokon. Okay.
I think James Inema is quite visible at the moment. Can we switch?
Yes, James Iniyama, how will you find corruption? How will you fight corruption?
Yeah, Prof, you started talking on digitization of Akwa Ibom State. And if I'm given a privilege, I would have loved to speak a bit on it.
Yeah, you can answer both questions. That's fine.
Now, here it is. And it's good that you are hosting us from California. When you come to the city where you are, I don't know which part of California you live in, it is a planned environment. Okay, it is planned. The residential neighborhoods are well laid out. And integral to the development plan is the creation of fiber optic ducts, your gas ducts, and all of that. But you see, we have communities already set out in such a disorderly manner. And when we begin to talk of, bringing digital services into those neighborhoods, we would not need to understand the limitations we will suffer. In 1999, I started an ICT company in Uyo we called Service Trail Nigeria Limited. I had 8 E1 sockets authorized by NITEL. I built a fiber optic network, a fiber optic duct from NITEL on Brook Street in Uyo all the way cross-board Barracks Road, cross-board Ibom Plaza to my facility at 43 Akar Road. I know what challenge it was. So talking about digitalization, I would say we do a hybrid thing in those neighborhoods. If you take a wet housing estate to some extent, but much more shelter Africa that looks well planned, we can build fiber optic ducts and then make sure we deliver fiber optic to residential properties. But on the other side of it, we will need to begin to think of building a network. I don't know what technology will be defining for the world today, whether it will be the situation where you are building your own teleport, or whether it is one where you are getting a big dish and then you get bandwidth. Bandwidth today can be delivered through the service providers, depending on the relationship you have with them. But what would be important is that we would have as communities
start your second question.
Service.
Mr. Iniyama, answer the second question. Yes. Which is how will you fight
I'll
corruption?
go to my second question. You're right.
Yes.
Now, when you look at our annual budgets, you find that, consumables are recycled every year. You open our budget and you look at somebody begin to talk to you about buying a Microsoft license.
You have actually muted yourself. You muted yourself. Go ahead and unmute yourself. You muted yourself. We are not hearing you. Let me see if I can get back to you. Can you unmute yourself?
I didn't mute myself.
I have sent him a prompt to unmute himself. I think it should go.
No, I'm still okay.
Oh, can you unmute yourself?
I'm still okay. I'm still okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. So when we talk of fighting corruption, for me, the first part to fight with is plugging those leakages in the administrative system. How can you tell me to buy a Microsoft license, an enterprise Microsoft license in 2021, and in the 2022 budget, you are telling me to buy the same license, whereas I know the license has a duration? You see, we should have a government that is bent on sitting down, read the documents, and then you cut down costs. The other area I know we can cut down costs and fight corruption is to ensure that our projects are properly supervised from the conceptual stage to the implementation. We take away all of the loopholes. My friend Idowodong talked about digitization. We must, computerization of our processes. We must get onto the computerization processes of our government process. But I do know as well that it has its implications, because the moment you start computerizing some of these things, somebody would have to lose his job. You wouldn't be sitting there idle in the office. But the important thing is we look at those areas where we have leakages, make sure we plug the leakages.
Your time is up.
Oh, Prof, it's all right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Saved by the bell, James Chief.
I cannot complain it there.
Okay. Honorable Onofio-Luke, can you unmute yourself?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes,
How will you fight corruption?
Okay, thank you for that question. The very first way of fighting corruption for me is the beginning point is prevention. And it starts with the leader. Everything falls and rises with leadership. And so for me, the power of example is key. Power example in the sense that a corruption thrives in a system where the leadership is seen as being corrupt. But if you live a life that is an example on the positive side, that you live within the means of your legitimate earnings, within the means of your entitlement as it's due your office, there is no way another person who is under you is going to be corrupt. And then if at all he does, you are now going to have the force of conscience, and then you now have to have the courage to be able to discipline him or her for that corrupt act. So the very first point is the power of example. We all know ourselves. We know the people would know to a certain extent what we have before we got into government. And then people should know through the code of conduct, declaration of asset form, what we have after we might have left government. The things we have after we've left government, are they commensurate with our legitimate earnings? And so it's not for us to go and take power and begin to live a flamboyant lifestyle. There is no way you can discipline a man who is corrupt. So first is the power of example. As the governor, I want to live the power of example. That I said on so and so time, for instance, I have been one of the person advocating, thank God for Ibom Air. If I fly Ibom Air, a commercial flight, I believe that my commissioners are going to do same. And if I ride on about a motorcade of about 3, 4, 5 cars, assuming because of the nature, when we criticize, we equally have to look at the circumstances of our terrain. They talked about the motorcade of the governor. Yeah, in as much as one is not giving excuses for them, but because of the security nature of this place and the Niger Delta, you find out that some of those vehicles, especially the Hiluxes, have the security personnel. And so once you live a life according to your means, you are able to challenge another person who is not living according to his means. The other one is accurate remuneration. You don't expect a civil servant to do his work well if he has not been properly remunerated. For instance, the medical doctor who is serving.
Your time is up. Can you finish up, please?
Okay, sir. For instance, you can't expect a doctor who is not properly paid to take the consumables that has been supplied in the hospital, except he has a clear conscience, and use those consumables for the patient without asking for a little pay. And so you have to remunerate the people properly. The other one is building strong institutions like the judiciary. How can we ensure quick dispensation of justice to be able to make sure that the law enforcement agency partner with the correctional services and partner with the judiciary so that whosoever is facing the wrath of the law, and then he would have a quick dispensation of justice. The final one on how to deal with corruption is, if you found any of your aid, no matter how close that aid is, and has not gone the way you have gone, the best thing for you to do is to send the person packing to show as an example and as a deterrent The other one, like the issue of plugging of holes, like subventions that were given to teachers, head teachers in school. How do you ensure that these subventions, how do you ensure that these subventions have actually gotten for the benefit of the students in those schools?
Please
and so there has
up,
to be
please round up, your time is up.
Prof,
yes.
So these are my few ways as time would permit for us to fight corruption. But Prof, I believe that opportunity will come someday where we are given enough time to be able to x-ray our plans and ideas and visions about the development of the state.
Yes, we will do that. Mr. Kanokon, how will you fight corruption?
Thank you, Prof. As a first step, fight corruption will be to strengthen the system and the processes of governance. Because a weak system where people can just do things and go away and get away with it will encourage corruption. But I want to say that towards fighting corruption, I believe that you must lead by example by ensuring that the public sector officers remain honest, transparent, and accountable for whatever they do. I also believe that it is important to expose corrupt activities and risks that may otherwise remain hidden. And when this is done, and when, just like the last speaker said, when people are involved in corrupt practices, they should not be condoned. They should be punished. And it will serve as a deterrent for others. And as a government, I believe that when the system is strong, that will also involve computerization and every other activities that will ensure transparency and accountability, that the issue of corruption will start to come down. But if we leave the system the way it is, but I believe that even as a state, because I know there's a move, it has commenced in terms of the civil servants' records. Before now, all those records are in paper form, but now there's a process of digitalization and computerization of all documents that relates to civil servant in the state. And I believe that when we do that through every processes of governance, that it will help reduce issues of corruption.
Okay. Thank you very much. Ikwafax Sams Nakpan, are you able to unmute yourself and answer the question? How will you fight corruption? Go ahead and answer the question. You just muted yourself again.
Thank you. This is how we fight corruption. I believe we should start from the top, because the people that are breaching the law, some of them are from the top, and we should hold them accountable for breaching the law, and there should be consequence whenever anybody from the top, because all this starts from the top. We also need to set example. I personally will set example from my office. That is how I think I can fight corruption. And then I will make the system to be very strong. A system that will regulate itself, that nobody can break or breach it, and nobody should be above the law. That is what I know, and I think we should start in fighting corruption. For example, I see people, bridging the traffic lights in Akwa Ibom State. I've seen that. And some of them are top government and top politicians are doing this. They break the law and nobody's holding them accountable. There should be accountability or accountable on anyone that is breaking the law in Akwa Ibom State. And also make example of them, anybody, not just few people. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I said this debate was going to be between 2 and 3 hours. And so for this last question, I would like the candidates to ask themselves questions. Pick anybody that you want to ask the question and ask your question. So Ikwafax Sam Snapman, pick someone, ask him one final question. Can you hear me? Ikwafax Sam Snapman, can you hear me? Otherwise, I'll go to Obong.
Are you there?
Yes.
Is Honorable Kanokun there?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you, sir. My question is, we are brothers and from the same senatorial district and the same federal constituency. How do we stop fighting ourselves as a politician?
Mr.
Did you hear
Kanokun,
me?
Mr. Kanokun, did you hear the question?
Hold on.
Mr. Kanokun, did you hear his question? Okay, you can ask another person.
Okay. I think anybody can answer the question. How we are all politicians now, we are about 7 on the line. For the interest of our state, our dear state, Akwa Ibom State, how do we stop fighting ourselves as politicians? Since we have one belief in building our states, how do we stop this? Anybody should answer, please.
Okay, Onofio Luke, you want to answer that question?
No, sir.
Okay. Is there any volunteer for that question? All right. So Onofio Luke, I'll go to you. Ask anybody any question. As your final question for the day, anyone, and ask him any question.
Hello, Prof.
Yes.
I'm a very good student. When I got this invitation to this engagement, I was told that I was going to be on the hot seat to answer questions, not to ask. And so I don't have any question.
Thank you very much.
The only question I can ask is, can you give us more time to be able to X-ray? To you now, Prof, give us more time to be able to X-ray our plans and visions for the state.
Okay, I can give you 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Go ahead and give your final word.
I know I was asking for another time, but if you have, thank you graciously.
Another debate.
The next debate is going to be between the candidates of the different parties. If you emerge as the candidate of your party, you will have more time.
Thank you. I by the grace of God, I hope to, and I will await such opportunity. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Obong Idemeko, do you have a question to anyone that you want to address as we round up these debates?
Yeah, Prof. I raised my hand,
yes,
and I was trying to, I couldn't unmute. Yes. So I just wanted to reflect a bit on what we need to do to ensure that, politicians or whatever respect the rules of the game and provide a level playing field. We can see, the state is all heated up because we have refused to allow a level playing field. We have deliberately created a situation where people like us that are coming from the corporate world are seen as pariah, shouldn't be coming into politics. They want to close the door against you those that have been there for, with without necessarily pointing fingers at, my dear younger brother Onofiok and my brother kind of have been there in politics for some time now. So they should allow allow a fresh breath of air. Let people be able to have a level playing field. The party delegates, for example, are being monitored. They are being strangulated. They are issues, threats about holding them in camping before nominations, violating their fundamental human rights, seizing their phones, and so on and so forth. That is not the kind of democracy we are looking at building. The kind of democracy that would bring about an exchange of ideas, a cultivation of ideas that would catalyze into the development for the state. So we all need to learn to play by the rules and know that there's a boundary that we shouldn't cross when it comes to freedom. We should not turn the political battlefield into a state of licentiousness in whatever form. These are things that people are not bold enough to express openly, but some of us are going to be bold to express them because we want to have a state where people can truly be themselves. And I'm saying that with all amount of responsibility. Prof.
Thank you very much. Akiten Yaituk, your concluding remarks, 3 minutes.
Thank you, sir. I thought you would allow me to ask Akiten Yaituk a question, but since it's not possible, let me give
that's fine. If you want to ask yourself a question, go ahead and ask and answer.
Akiten Yaituk, you are from Ikot-Ekpene Senatorial District. Why are you contesting? Why they think that this is for your senatorial district? Thank you for that question. Very interesting question. Number one, I want to say that there's a difference between senatorial district and ethnic nationality. In ethnic nationality, you have Akpan, Udo, and Udo Udo. And whenever something is to be given, Akpan takes first, Udo takes second, Udo Udo takes next. That is our culture, that is our tradition. And then in ethnic nationality, you have Ibibio as Akpan, Anang as Udo, and Oron as Udo Udo or Udo or Udofia. But unfortunately, that was changed at the time of my brother Akwa Ibom to senatorial district. In senatorial district, whether you are from Kano and you have 15 local government, or you are from Bayelsa and you have 2 local government, a senator is a senator. They are all equal. In which case, now that we are working with senatorial district in Akwa Ibom, we are all equal. In the first round, Uyo picked first, and we were all happy. Ikot-Ekpene picked second, and Eket picked last. And then we now come to second round, and the man wants to pick again first. No, sir, you're no longer Akpan. We are all the same. In round 1, I forget Tonga. Round 2, Ikot-Ekpene be Tonga, because that is it. Then round 3, Ekere Tonga, because we are all equal. Anyway, that is on one side, on the lighter side. But on a more serious note, very serious anyway, think about it. I think that we all want to serve the state if we mean well. So we should present ourselves to the people based on our ideologies, based on our plans, based on superior argument. If you go inducing people, you are corrupt. How can you fight corruption? You should talk to the people, engage the people, and not induce the people. Number 2, you should be driven by something. Nyaitok has social governance ideology. If you look at it with 7 fundamentals, please take your own ideology, your governance drive, and take it to the people and let the people accept or reject. And number 3, please respect the will of the people at the poll. Let the level playing ground be. And finally, moderator, see you in the next debate, because Nyaitok, luckily, we had the Congress of our party, about a week ago. And all the people in the party came in getting the Congress done, unanimously adopted Akiten Nyaitok as the sole candidate for ADC, African Democratic Congress. I thank my people, and to my colleagues, I wish you well. So meet you, those of you that are successful, at the other side of the divide. Coordinator, you've done a wonderful work. God bless you. Next time, please just give us a little more time for those of us that are coming back. But for those whom I may not be seeing next time, I bid you farewell and God's grace.
Okay, I'll add 1 minute next time. James Inyama, your concluding remarks, 3 minutes.
Yes, please, Prof. Thank you very much for this opportunity. But let me go back to our own system of political governance. I have known that we carry on with the zoning of political offices and do so in rotation. And so we rotate from one senatorial district to the other. We started from Uyo senatorial district in Ikot-Ekpene federal constituency, and we had a great leader, Obong Akpani-Semen, as our governor. And we moved on to the next senatorial district. And we came back to Uyo senatorial district, and we had our great leader, Obong Victor Atta, as governor from Uyo federal constituency. And in Uyo senatorial district, there are 3 federal constituencies. A Tinan federal constituency has had a shot at the governorship. Uyo federal constituency has had a shot at the governorship. Why do our other kinsmen from Uyo and Tinan federal constituency think that it is just for them to also contest when morality, political morality should tell us that zoning should favor Itu federal constituency? You see, we should not redefine the rules of engagement when it favors us. And when we think it doesn't favor us, we look at the other way. How can Ezekiel Nyaituk be talking of ethnicity? You know, in 2007, I was taken, to the cleaners. And what was my offense? I was told, yes, we had been told that the governorship was zoned to Ikot-Ekpene senatorial district. It was zoned to the Annex. And here you are, an Ibibio man, you are contesting. You are a hater of the Annex. I told them, my apologies, please. I was contesting under Action Congress. We didn't have zoning in my party. It was only the PDP that had zoning. But you see, we are looking at building an Akwa Ibom state where we will ensure peace. We will ensure equity. We will ensure justice. And my closing remarks would be the zoning of the governorship seat for 2023, not for the fear of competition, but for the fact that we want justice and equity to be seen to be done, should come to Itu federal constituency. And that is when I will really believe that we of Akwa Ibom state origin, we stand for the truth, we stand for justice, and we are God-fearing. Thank you, Profita. Let's see what tomorrow holds for all of us.
Thank you, Ida Odion Idemeko. Your concluding remarks.
My friend James, don't worry.
Did I not finish with you?
We'll have that discussion later. Don't worry. But a quick one, for me, I think it's high time that Akwa Ibom people move beyond sentiment such as expressed right now. We should be looking at people that are competent, credible, that have a track record of performance and can deliver. And for me, it's not about being governor of Ibesipo, so I'm governor of Uyo Central District, about being the governor of Akwa Ibom State. And what are we going to do to ensure that development can move out of its current concentration within the Uyo metropolis and move out to other areas? And so for me, I'm going to be looking at creating new growth centers that are aligned with the other 9 federal constituencies in the state, called the City Development Authority model. And you can go back to my blueprint and see how that's going to work. So I don't want to reassure my friend James that you should not be worried that Itu will be getting a City Development Authority, and that would help to develop that as federal constituency. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is Mr. Kanokon here concluding remarks? Mr. Kanokun.
Unmute me. Prof, I'm here.
Yes, concluding remarks. 3 minutes.
I've heard issues of zoning that came up. But first of all, before I start, I want to say that God is not an author of confusion. And that is why in an organization, anywhere people plan, organize, so that we can have a peaceful society, things are done orderly. I believe that Akwa Ibom State belongs to all of us, and each and every one of us should be given a sense of belonging. And for me, given the experience that I've gathered over the years in the private sector and public service, I believe that our state should move away from the current situation where development is based on an annual budget. I believe that as a governor, I will be able to put in place a 30-year development plan minimum that successful administration will follow, because that is why we have seen development happens in the other countries the way that happened, because they consistently do the right thing and follow lay down their plan. I believe that when that is done, as a state, we are going to witness development that we've never seen before. I've heard about it. I believe that the reason why we are divided into constituency, senatorial,
okay.
And I believe that if we have zoning, we have to be consistent so that they can be justice, they can be fair play, they can be equity. The state belongs to all of us. There is no one individual that has more stake in the Akwa Ibom State than any one of us. We are all Akwa Ibom. That's my and the issue of we have I hear somebody that when it is a microzone, people are not qualified, will aspire to become governor. Every federal constituency have competent people to become the governor of this state, and that's what they have become in the past. So it should not be different today.
Okay. Thank you very much. At this point, I want to thank everyone for finding time to join us for 2 hours, 40 minutes of discussion with the aspirants for governorship position. We've had a very productive debate. And next time we are going to have debates between candidates of the different parties, so that those will be the flag bearers for the different parties. Once again, thanks everyone for coming, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks.